August 2nd, 9:36 p.m.
What do you mean you don't like anchovy?
When Bud and Lou come in the back door next to the loading dock, the Joker hears them yammering at each other from his laboratory in the basement. It's typical idiotic Bud and Lou patter, and the Joker is distracted by a bemused recollection of the first time they worked for him. He needed a couple of ordinary Joes, preferably with minimal scruples and a congenital predisposition toward following orders. And through the underworld connections he still had left over in the wake of his transmogrification, he was able to scare up exactly what he was looking for. The fact that one of them was tall and morose-looking, and the other rotund and loud, made the alliance seem inevitable. The Joker dubbed them Bud and Lou immediately, and when they protested that they wanted him to call them by their given names, he unfortunately had to get menacing. And this was before he'd polished his skills on the menacing front, so his handling of the situation had lacked finesse. He grins as he tells himself this story, him being his own favorite audience, really, especially for a story like this that falls squarely into the you-had-to-be-there category.
In fact, if I recall, I believe I had to put a smile on the faces of several people before Bud and Lou understood how important it was for all of us to work together. And that for all of us to work together, we would need to grant certain personality quirks concerning monikers and such like verbal costuming. But enough reverie. Back to rehearsal.
He putters with a complicated catalysis that will yield a new variety of Joker juice. He can't wait to try it out. On the table next to the burners, he's got a fresh set of fingernails, and the batsuit is hanging up to dry after he treated it with a marvelous contact potion. It won't last long, but before it degrades, he plans to have a lot of fun with it. Bud and Lou bear at least partial responsibility for the failure of the reservoir gag, although the Joker isn't fool enough to absolve himself completely, and he certainly isn't enough of a nincompoop to discount Batman's role in the whole affair. The Batman problem will be taken care of soon enough, though. Already he's got the Chiropteran Crusader on the defensive, working with second-rate equipment and struggling against the tide of public opinion. These next few days will see the delivery of the punchline. Sooner or later, he'll have to do something about Bud and Lou as well. They're not terrible examples of their kind, the aforementioned unscrupulous henchmen, but unscrupulous henchmen don't last long without either acquiring some kind of scruple or succumbing to the belief that they should be moving up in the world. Time to start planning for the next difficult period of training henchmen.
Later.
Right now, he's got all these wonderful toys to finish off, and he's got to go upstairs and see if Bud and Lou have completed the errand he sent them on.
What did you say?
A rat! A frickin' rat!
No, it ain't. It's something else. What the hell?
Holy crap!
Boys, no shooting around the flammable chemicals now!
He takes the rest of the stairs 4 at a time and comes out of the stairwell just in time to see a gout of flame roar out of the open trailer backed up to the dock. Bud and Lou are standing about 50 feet away from the dock, both blazing away into the trailer.
Boys, cease fire!
He smacks the guns out of their hands. He shakes an admonitory finger.
Boys, I'm terribly disappointed in you. You know we're not supposed to fire guns near the piles of drums of explosive and flammable chemicals, right?
Yeah, but boss,
The Joker places the admonitory finger across Lou's lips. Lou gets cross-eyed trying to keep track of it.
Boy.
The Joker mirrors the finger gesture on Bud's mouth. Both of them stand stock still, and the Joker looks back and forth between them, not even twitching, when another roar comes out of the trailer.
Boys, there will be no gunfire here. We will now put out the fire in the truck, and if we have the good fortune to avoid a fire department call, we will reconfigure this space so that if anyone ever happens to show up, they will not see yon bat car or the magnificent collection of rusting chemical drums. Do we understand each other? You are permitted to nod.
They nod.
Capital.
The Joker removes his fingers.
Boss behind ya!
Hey?
The Joker turns and sees some kind of spidery steel contraption emerging from the flames in the truck trailer. It pauses on the dock gate, lifts one leg, and puts it back down.
What a marvelous machine! I must have one. What does it do?
The robot reaches under itself with one leg, extracts a small black ball from its body, and bowls it across the floor toward the three of them until it's about 5 feet away. There's something about being caught in the shockwave from an explosion that utterly scrambles the Joker's sense of time. He's pretty sure that he gets right back up off the floor, but meanwhile, the robot seems to have moved quite some distance in the direction of the chemical drums. It's reaching for another little black ball, but it appears to have run out. Or at least no more little bombs appear to skip across the floor. So, it reaches out with one arm and punctures one of the drums.
Not so fast!
In a jiffy, the Joker's across the floor and into the Batcar, and squealing across the floor in the robot's direction.
Wow! Wow! Wow!
But the robot is fast, no question about that. And the Joker nearly runs over both Bud and Lou. Lou, in fact, twice. Which leads the Joker to think in passing that since he's been thinking about it anyway, and since he is careening around the inside of a building trying to crush a marauding steel arachnid, he might as well flatten both of them while he's at it. A marauding pyrotechnic steel arachnid.
Whoa! It's you, my little upstart firebug.
The Joker swerves around a support beam and nearly makes jelly out of Bud.
Oh, pooh!
He's not catching the robot, and the more he chases it, the less he finds the entire production either edifying or humorous. To relieve the tedium, he begins pressing buttons on the Batcar's dashboard. A great number of interesting things happen. Smoke pours from the vehicle's rear, some kind of visual display unfolds from the ceiling and interposes itself between the Joker's face and the dashboard, and small sharp metal objects spew out from the wheel wells. He thinks there's something else, but it's hard to tell because the smoke is suddenly so thick in the room.
But lo! What's this?
He can see perfectly well through the display.
Marvelous!
He leans into it. The robot has scuttled up one of the support beams, and as much as the Joker would just like to power the car through the beam, he doesn't suppose it's in his long-term best interest to have the building fall down on him and his laboratory. He's got plans for this place.
Target acquired.
Ha-ha! Low again!
A tiny red square on the display has centered itself on the robot.
Oh, but once acquired, how is this target targeted, disposed of, annihilated?
He glances at the dashboard again, and of course, there it is, a blinking red button on the Batcar's gear shift.
Ha-ha! Fire away! Damn the torpedoes!
A wire mesh net appears from somewhere within the car and strikes the robot, simultaneously knocking it from the pillar and entangling it completely. The Joker accelerates and bounces the robot off the Batcar's hood. It hits the wall, then struggles to its feet. It's able to stand, but not move. The Joker leaves a 40-foot streak of rubber between his location and the point at which bumper and wall collide, with crumpling mechanical arachnid in the middle. The impact bounces his head off the display, but he's always had stars in his eyes anyway. Part of wanting to be a comedian, don't you know? And he leaps from the Batcar with outrageous panache.
Take that, you infernal machine! This is what meddling with the Joker gets you! Tell your masters in your last flickers before your processes turn to sand and your wiring melts into found art.
Uh-oh.
The robot has somehow gotten up. And not just up, but partially free of the net. And it's dragging the net along, not to mention at least 4 of its legs, as it heads back across the floor toward the chemical drums.
Oh, now come on!
It reaches the first group of drums.
You must be kidding.
The force plants the Joker an inch deep in the concrete of the far wall. Once again, the Joker finds himself having to sort through the various ways in which he is accustomed to organize his experience. He has somehow become one with the outer layer of this wall, although even as he realizes this, his weight is peeling him loose from the shallow depression his body has left. Face first, he meets the floor and counts backward from the square root of 2 for a while, until he feels like he can get up. While still on the ground, he's thinking that it won't be so bad to lose this lab. Not after the way Bud and Lou's gunplay will bring the police. Well, maybe. And if it's going to be blown up, well, with any luck, Bud and Lou will have been blown up with it. Then he's on his feet.
Ta-da!
Good fortune has indeed smiled. But in the typically ironic way of good fortune, the smile is a little crooked. The self-destruction of the robot might well have ignited a large number of drums of chemicals, which stockpile would in turn have caused a secondary explosion that in all likelihood would have brought the entire building down around Joker's pallid ears. But oh, terrible mercy, the building is spared, because the robot, possibly deranged by the impact of the exceedingly solid Batcar traveling at an irresponsible velocity, chose to blow itself up in the middle of a group of polybrominated diphenyl ethers, which, being flame retardants, retarded the holy hell out of the expanding flames of the robot's explosion, and which, by virtue of being heavy drums of fluid, absorbed a great deal of the blast wave. All of which means that, rather than being buried 40 feet deep in broken concrete and bent steel I-beams, the Joker is standing more or less intact, although his chipped rib, it must be said, hurts like billy-o, in the more or less intact ground floor of the hidey hole. His relief at this circumstance is greatly tempered by the realization that the lovely polybrominated diphenyl ethers, for which he had such grand Enfer-negating plans, are now leaked out all over the floor and dripping from the support pillars. Their drums lie strewn about like crumpled soda cans. He's composing an elegy on PBDEs in his head, but he keeps his voice chipper.
Boys, are you still with me?
Sure are, boss.
Lou appears from the stairwell.
Yup.
Bud pokes his head in from the break room.
Cleanup time, boys. Pull that trailer across the street if the truck will still run. And find me some pieces of that marvelous little robot. I must know everything about it.
The boys, perhaps invigorated by their brush with a flaming, shrapnel-shredded death, set about these tasks with uncharacteristic alacrity. In short order, the smoking trailer is backed down an alley across the street, and the Joker is sitting cross-legged on the floor with a pile of shiny steel fragments in front of him. And the number of these fragments make it practically a statistical truism that one of them will provide cryptic clues as to the robot's maker, from which information the Joker hopes to gather information about its purchaser. He's got this process roughed out in his head, and is oddly a bit, just the tiniest bit, put out when Bud short-circuits the whole thing.
Hey, does that say Veritech right there?
Lou leans over to read the letters inscribed on one of the robot's legs.
It sure does. Hey, is that...
Boss, you're never gonna believe this. I think we just delivered these the other day.
Police sources have revealed to WGCB that evidence recovered from the Shanley house offers a possible connection to the Grant Street ambush that claimed the lives of 6 police officers and turned Gotham City against Batman. Speculation about a relationship between the two crimes has run rampant since it became clear that the Shanleys were slain only hours before the Grant Street ambush, and because their house number, 1498, is the same as the Grant Street address used by Batman to plant a false tip regarding arsonist cum mass murderer Enfer. Speaking on condition of anonymity, a highly placed source in the GCPD told this reporter last night that the department is treating a Grant-Sherman connection as the leading explanation for the unlikely coincidences. A possible reconstruction of events is that Batman, or thugs in his employ, mistakenly went to 1498 Sherman instead of 1498 Grant and killed the Shanleys to avoid any possibility of tipping police to the possibility of a setup. The GCPD source would neither confirm nor deny that this reconstruction is similar to the department's understanding of the case.
August 3rd, 9 a.m. Bruce would rather be anywhere, he thinks he means this literally, than here in the press room on the 17th floor of Wayne Tower, looking at a sea of cynical journalists and glowing ready lights. If he ever meets Rafael del Toro in a dark alley, he's not going to be responsible for his actions. He's been hoping that del Toro's innuendo about Wayne Enterprises would fade away, but the press office has been fielding queries by the dozen during the past few days, and it's time to put this whole thing to rest. So he adjusts his notes, adjusts his tie, and silences the assembled jackals of the Gotham City press.
Thanks for coming. As you all know, in a recent blog of his, Rafael del Toro stirred up what I might call a firestorm of gossip about this company, and about me personally. Is he here by any chance?
Bruce knows Del Toro would no more come to this press conference than source a quote, but to make his point, he makes a big show of scanning the room.
Too bad. If he was, he might be able to come a little closer to the bullseye next time. I'm going to address Mr. Del Toro's irresponsible rumor-mongering with more energy and specificity than it deserves.
Bruce nods to the side of the podium, where two of his assistants wait with armloads of brochures, hot out of the print shop downstairs.
What you're about to receive is a complete rundown of all non-business activities funded by Wayne Enterprises, as well as various charities, non-profits, and research groups to which we have lent our name. Also included in the packet, you'll find a roster of every charitable donation made on my behalf, or the behalf of the Thomas and Martha Wayne Foundation during the last 3 years. Although this disclosure won't, can't really, prevent the spread of rumors, it is my hope that professional journalists will consult it in their future efforts to characterize the activities of Wayne Enterprises in non-business realms. I know you can't assimilate all of this information immediately, but it's my hope that you'll get back in touch with our outreach personnel once you have. And in the meantime, perhaps I can answer your questions on other topics. Vicky?
Mr. Wayne.
It hurts him a little that she doesn't call him Bruce. After all, they did date for a while. And for a change, it wasn't him doing the leaving when it came time for someone to leave.
Are you ready to state categorically that no Wayne Enterprises money is finding its way to the Batman?
Yes, I am. I wouldn't know, and I don't think anyone who holds the Wayne purse strings would know where to deposit a check so it would get to Batman.
Vicky shoots him a glare. She knows he's deliberately joking around the question, and she doesn't like it. Tough. He answered in the first 3 words and gave her a chance for a follow-up. If she didn't take it, that's her problem.
Wayne Trask. I didn't know you still had time for these things with your radio show.
Well, I'm still a reporter, Bruce. For now, anyway. So, if you did know where to find Batman, would you cut him a check?
No. If you'd asked me that question a month ago, I might have answered differently. I felt then that Batman was good for Gotham City. Now, obviously, that's not as clear.
It kills him to say that. And not just him. Batman wants out, wants to lean into the microphone, and tell Dwayne Trask that he forgives the people of Gotham City their fickleness and their gullibility, and that he will prove himself again. Again, as he has more and more often in recent days, Bruce feels as if he is a skin worn lightly over the rage and determination of Batman. His answers are superficially direct and candid, but in truth he isn't saying anything that he wouldn't be expected to say. Batman, on the other hand, is offering shadow answers to all of the questions Bruce fields, and it's not always easy to remember to give Bruce's responses and not Batman's.
Bruce, what's the situation between you and Phoebe Lemieux?
Miss Lemieux and I are good friends.
She's a decoy.
Bruce, does Wayne Enterprises ever feel like it's wasting money with all its support of new technology grants to the Gotham City Police Department?
Of course not.
Even given the ongoing problems with corruption and poor clearance rates of violent crime cases?
Another decoy.
Bruce has enough money that if he doesn't throw some of it down black holes like Piscura's stable of brutally indifferent misfits, people will start to talk. And that's not what he wants them talking about. See previous answer about Phoebe Lemieux.
Wayne Enterprises offers its full support to the men and women who would keep our streets and our city safe.
Did you hear that, Vicky? I just answered your question.
Did you leave the Van Gelder reception because of the news about Batman? It sure looked like you had to duck out to check on an endangered investment.
My reasons for leaving that reception are private and will remain so. If you have questions to ask about Wayne Enterprises or the public financial activities of my family or any of its trusts, I'm happy to answer those.
I left because I
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
I said, do you think Batman is valuable to Gotham City, even if he makes the occasional fatal mistake that results in the death of an innocent?
Well...
He's shaken and tries to force a grin, but from the way it feels on his face, he can tell it's going to look awful on video.
I left because I had to know if the Joker was dead, and if I'm telling the entire truth, because I was hoping he wasn't.
Batman should be held accountable for his actions, just like anyone else. The truth is, though, that I think Batman's probably going to be around whether we want him to be or not. But that's more of an impression, mostly from your papers, than an informed opinion. Maybe you should ask the professor. What was her name? Kaplan?
And while you're at it, ask her why I should want a creature like the Joker to live.
That question is still on his mind late that night, when out of sheer frustration, he is prowling from rooftop to rooftop in the East End. The rain is gone, the moon high and clear, and his work in the cave is paid off. Finally, Batman can come out. He's worked the new car, which is the old car, over until he thinks it's good enough, and Lucius's new Under Armour is actually better than the stuff the Joker is currently wearing. Probably, in fact, it would have stopped Gordon's bullet cold, thus avoiding the whole DNA brouhaha. Batman pities Gordon tonight, pities everyone in Gotham City who labors under the Joker-engineered misconceptions filling the newspapers. The full scope of what the Joker has done to him only became clear earlier today at the press conference. In stealing Batman's identity, the Joker has, in a very real way, stolen Bruce Wayne's. He had left the Van Gelder reception to discover whether the Joker had been killed because a dead Joker removed Batman's sternest test. Wanting that test to be alive is a kind of self-indulgence, a narcissistic desire to best the best in order to be the best. But as Bruce learned in the dojos and monasteries of the Himalayas, excellence lies in competition with oneself. Now that Bruce recognizes this, he can set about solving the problem. One way would be to give up, surrender to the impulse to end things in the traditional Gotham way, with a gun. That, too, would be unforgivable. Bruce allows himself to have the thought, then compartmentalizes the hate and puts it where it belongs, in the reactor that drives him, where the alchemy of Batman can convert it into resolve. This isn't about the Joker, it's about Gotham City. And more than that, it's about honoring Thomas and Martha Wayne. And more than that, it's about the imperative to uphold the standards you believe in, simply because you believe in them.
I'm me again.
Batman leaps into the Gotham night. August 4th, 9:08 a.m. It's good to be back in the office, even if it means that Gordon has to spend his first day dealing with fallout from the DNA leak and, the absolute worst part of the cop's job, talking to reporters. Scratch that. The worst part is telling someone about a death in the family. But talking to reporters is a close second.
I sure appreciate you taking this time, Captain. It must be difficult for you having to be the department's point person for anything having to do with Batman.
It's a transparent ploy to get him to say something controversial.
Well, Vicky, I've worked on a number of Batman-related cases, and by now I've dealt with the press on Batman issues enough that the department is probably saving itself some time and manpower by doing it this way.
He's happy with that answer, but so is Vicky. Gordon starts to wonder if he's done something wrong.
Let's talk about the DNA leak a little bit. There are lots of questions coming up, especially since the department has done more to condemn the leak so far than to address the questions raised in the draft report.
I think you're confusing me with Aaron McNamara. I can tell you a little bit about ways Batman has worked in tandem with GCPD before, but if you want blanket statements, you're gonna have to ask Aaron.
How did it feel to shoot him?
Conflicting feelings render Gordon speechless for a moment. On the one hand, he admires the reporter's trick of dropping the bombshell question out of the blue. On the other hand, he despises Vicky Vale for using it. And behind all that, he recognizes that the only reason for his intense response is that he does have a personal stake in this. He can't be an objective voice.
I didn't become a police officer to shoot people. But in this case, the use of deadly force was appropriate. The department investigation said so, and I believed it from the beginning.
You didn't answer my question.
And I'm not going to. My feelings aren't news.
Captain, I'm sure I don't have to tell you that anything related to Batman is news.
I did what any police officer would have done in the same situation. I judged the use of deadly force to be appropriate given the immediate lethal threat to fellow officers and possible bystanders as well. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay. Then let's get back to the DNA. Does the department find a correlation between genetic modification and criminal behavior?
I don't have any way to answer that. We don't do DNA scans on every car thief and drug dealer who comes through.
Well, we're not talking about car thieves. We're talking about the upper crust of criminals. It seems that every high-profile villain who has operated in Gotham City these past few years has displayed obvious characteristics of genetic modification. through either trauma or illicit medical procedures. Are there any statistics on the prevalence of black market doctors who might do this kind of work?
You're out of my area, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Vicky snaps her notebook shut.
Let's go off the record. Between you and me, where do I go? I know this story is out there. You know it's in the city's best interest to have someone write it. So let's quit getting in each other's way.
Vicky, if I told you about all of the bizarre things that happen in this city, you'd never get a good night's sleep again. Sometimes I think part of what cops do for people who aren't cops is keep those kinds of secrets. We know these things, so you don't have to.
Like what?
Okay. Right after Batman took the Joker down, we were running down some of the last leads about some of the Joker's connections to the Maroons. You remember them?
Of course.
Turns out, he was using them for all kinds of errands, and also squeezing them for finances. I guess he's got better money coming in now, since that was one of the first places we looked when he got loose, and none of those old sources paid off this time. Well, back then, we finally caught one of the Maroons working on the docks for Carmine Falcone. Usually the big families don't mix with street gangs. Their ways of doing business are too different, but there was a history there, and we leaned on this Maroon kid until he gave up the location of one of the Joker's labs in an empty fish processing place down on the Dixon docks.
Gordon starts arranging the pencils on his desk so he can forget about wanting a smoke.
Two things happened then. One, we crashed the fish place, and in the coolers, we found 37 people. Dead. Not just dead, starved to death. The Joker had kept them there to practice new kinds of Joker juice on. And when Batman nailed him, everyone forgot about those people, except this Maroon kid. And maybe some of the other Maroons, and they didn't say anything. So I can sleep at night, I tell myself that all of them thought we'd get to the fish place before those people died. But I don't really believe it. The second thing is that 5 weeks later, we get a tip that something else is going on down at the fish place. We crash it again, and we find the Maroon kid in the same locker, also starved to death, and with the ace of spades carved into his back.
Telling the story has made him tired. The cuts in the kid's back were so deep and wide that his ribcage showed through. Gordon has had trouble playing cards ever since.
You know what that means, right?
That Carmine knew about the people the Joker had hidden away.
He knew, and he wanted us to know he knew. That's the way things happen in this city, Vicky Vale. Think you could get that story in your paper?
There's a silence between them. Gordon finishes arranging his pencils by length and debates doing it again from lightest to darkest.
Well, that doesn't have much to do with either genetic modification or Batman. Are you trying to distract me, Captain?
No. I'm trying to tell you that, yeah, there are unlicensed gene doctors in Gotham City, but I don't know who they are. And I'm also trying to tell you that I don't think they're the cause of any of this. You want that story, go find it. I can't help you.
Apparently not. But I think it's because you're still protecting him.
He doesn't need my protection.
That's not a denial, Captain.
We're off the record, Miss Vale. And in any case, I can't prove I'm not protecting him, so if you're gonna write it, go ahead and write it. The brass would love to see that story.
I see. I have to say, I expected more from you than the standard cop admonition to sit on a story for the greater good.
That's not what I'm saying, and I think you know it. Do what you have to do.
I will. And Captain, you too. Take your own advice.
Then she's gone. And it's only 10 in the morning, and Gordon has a stack of open case files on his desk, and probably 1,000 emails to delete, and a couple of dozen phone messages that need listening to. Arranging his tasks from simplest to hardest, he accesses his departmental email. It's more or less what he expected, which is to say there's nothing there he needs to read. He's copied on every department press release, and he gets the union newsletter and the homicide team morning updates, and the Detectives Association meeting minutes, and all the other bureaucratic busywork that keeps cops from doing their jobs. 99% of it he deletes unread. Before going on to the phone messages, he decides to check his personal account. There are 4 messages, one from a distant uncle doing genealogical research, 2 from Junior, who has recently begun pestering Barbara to send Daddy emails at work, and one from a dead drop address he has come to know well. He opens that one and deletes it as soon as he's read the 3-word text, then closes the account and picks up the phone. The day has changed around him, though. He feels as if something strong and secret and pure has reached out to him, keeping him going a little longer. All it took was 3 words: keep the faith. August 4th, 10:15 a.m. In his previous life, losing an expensive and useful piece of equipment like the crawler would have made Enfer's life miserable for days. Today, though, flushed with lingering glee over his latest message to the Joker, he's busy as a beaver getting the other crawlers online. The 40th is charging, and he's running a few of the others through their paces, both to see what they can do and to test his own ability to ride herd on more than one of them at a time. It's tricky, but he's getting better at it. He's also been cooking up a whole smorgasbord of fiery goodies, mostly more cherry bombs since they're so small and pack such a fine little punch, but he's had unexpectedly promising results with good old homemade napalm. He's been at this since well before the crawlers arrived, and he's got so much incendiary potential in the back of the shop that he gets nervous every time he turns on the lights. It doesn't do any good to worry, though. Soldier on, he tells himself.
Time to take it all the way. The Annunciation will be worth it.
As his sole concession to worry, though, he's relocated the rack of prostheses to the front room, where the crawlers are milling around. For the kitchen work and the nuts and bolts job of activating crawlers, he's using a simple force feedback arm, capable of stirring and turning wrenches and not much else. The other arms he plans to cache around the city for the big day, when, if all goes as planned, he's going to lead Batman on a merry little chase. One other thing that has him looking over his shoulder is the possibility that the Joker will be looking for a reprisal. The 2 morons driving the truck obviously had done business with him before. This would of course mean removal of the Joker, but Enfer has come to accept that eventuality with surprising ease.
It was never really meant to happen. Gotham isn't big enough for 2 like us.
After the Annunciation, he's going to get all of that taken care of. Ideally, it will happen as part of the Annunciation, but that might depend on whether the Joker is running around in his batsuit that day. If so, all kinds of interesting possibilities present themselves.
I could take out both the Joker and Batman in one day.
The crawlers nearest him hesitate at the sound of his voice, then go on about whatever it is they're doing once they have satisfied themselves that he wasn't issuing a command to them. He's got 77 crawlers put together, and although he hates to take the chance, it's time to be a little more aggressive about siphoning from the grid. Enfer gets his tools together, goes downstairs, and spends an hour installing a number of splices and shunts in the electrical box. When he's done, he's got enough power coming into the building to fire up all the crawlers he can get plugged in. And what the hell? If Gotham Power and Light shows up, the repair guy is going to get more than he bargained for. He finishes installing the rest of the outlets he's going to use to charge the crawlers. 2 days, that's all he needs. In 2 days, he'll have the full complement of crawlers, each armed with combustible presents to the citizens of Gotham City, starting with his former GCFD brothers. They are the reason for and linchpin of the Annunciation.
Should thank them, really. I might still be pulling cats out of trees.
Actually, he did that once, although Gotham City doesn't boast much in the way of arboreal variety. An absolutely stereotypical old woman called because her tabby had gotten up into the high branches of a sickly elm tree in front of her Upper East Side brownstone. They'd gotten the call, and Enfer had gone up to get the cat, which had bitten down hard on his thumb when he hauled it out of the tree. The glove, designed to withstand exposure to fire, held up under the cat's assault, but Enfer was still tempted to drop it, accidentally, and see if the old saying about them landing on their feet was true. Anyway, the whole job had annoyed him incredibly, had in fact so offended his sense of what firefighters were for that he had to warm up the old lady's brownstone a few weeks later. That was the last time he'd done that, before the warehouse ignition that had brought Batman down on him. He blinks out into a fugue of humiliated rage. He's 17, about to graduate from high school, and his chemistry teacher is standing in the doorway of the closet where all the chemicals are kept in jars and boxes. Enfer is at the back of the closet, one pocket stuffed with a sulfur compound, and the other with something else that the teacher had mentioned would make the sulfur compound go boom in the presence of water.
Oh, kid, I told you about this how many times?
I'm just looking.
I don't even care that you're lying to me. The next time I catch you in this closet, 3 things are going to happen. First, I'm going to call the principal. Second, I'm going to call your parents. Third, I'm going to fail you for the class. Actually, make it 4. And the fourth is that I'm going to call the nurse and write up a psych evaluation request for you. How does that sound?
The only one of those that really bothers him is the psych evaluation. Already he knows that people will not understand.
We understand each other? Then don't let me see you in here again.
The teacher stands aside, and Enfer goes back out front into the classroom. Later that day, he uses the 2 powders he found to blow the bottom out of a neighbor's swimming pool. It takes him a minute to get his breathing under control again. Breath is important to Enfer. Fire needs oxygen, but wind will put it out. This is a lesson useful to any organism that metabolizes oxygen, and Enfer considers himself and fire both organisms. Doesn't fire eat, breathe, grow? So it's important to him to keep his breathing under control, even and nourishing. He feels his heart rate come back down, and some of the twitchy feeling leave his hands.
All part of the plan.
Not necessarily the plan for the Annunciation, but the greater plan, its outlines and edges obscure, which has led him here, and which he has no doubt will lead him to places much higher yet. It's time to turn up the heat on Gotham City a little more, and while he's at it, to send another message to the Joker.
There's a new sheriff in town.
And it's time all concerned parties knew it.
Gotham Gazette Online. Bullseye, the video blog of Gotham Gazette columnist Rafael Del Toro.
If you were Arkham Asylum Director Dr. Jonathan Crane, you'd think you'd had enough problems every day at work. Your clients are all dangerous lunatics. Your funding is constantly under threat because upstate legislators have a bone-deep antipathy to bankrolling the treatment of a population primarily captured in Gotham City. And to top it all off, you've been the target of numerous complaints about your treatment of inmates. Now Crane can't even go to work anymore. You will all have noticed by now that Arkham Asylum burned to the ground about 10 days ago, and that since then our streets are being roamed by more than even their usual outrageous number of wackos. And somehow this too is Crane's fault, even though the only thing anyone can really pin on him is that he didn't stand in the ruins of the asylum with a bullhorn reading off a list of the miscreants and yahoos who escaped. From one perspective, that's craven self-preservation. From another, it's good public policy. What good does it do us to know who's out there? Any of the possibilities, from the Joker right down to your average stumblebum with a screw loose, are disturbing, but knowing the specifics doesn't do anything but make all of Gotham City a little edgier. Trust me, this town doesn't need any more edge. I talked to Crane yesterday, and it's clear that he's more than a little worn down by the controversy.
Honestly, I'm not sure why this is happening, except that it conforms to a fairly standard pattern of the public looking for a scapegoat and the media finding one.
Oh, we're good at that, Doc. Hell, if we can't find one, usually we have more fun making one up. Pin the tail on the scapegoat is the Gotham City journalist's third favorite activity, right behind liquid breakfasts and manufacturing sources.
Even if I had released the list the moment I had it compiled, I'm certain most of the blame for the escapes and whatever crimes escapees might have committed would fall on me. It's the nature of the position.
As if it's Jonathan Crane's fault that the Joker has gotten loose, and then thrown us all a curveball by rescuing an unlucky waitress from a fate worse than death. And even then he did it by killing 5 other people. You might as well blame Enfer on Jonathan Crane. Hell, you might as well blame Batman on him. For all we know, both of them are former patients of the good doctors, although Crane is legally prevented from discussing such matters. Talking to him, though, you get the feeling that he knows more about both Enfer and Batman than he's able to let on.
Both seem, from a distance, to be interesting cases. It would be a real professional challenge to try and help them. Perhaps I'll get the chance sometime.
Well, that might give us all a little peace of mind. Certainly more than the release of a stupid list that most of us wouldn't have had any business reading anyway.
August 4th, 11:01 a.m.
Now, boys, let's be careful. That's a public servant there, and we're going to have need of his particular skills.
Bud and Lou are picking up the unconscious Gotham City cop who eventually, 12 hours being an average GCPD response time in this neighborhood, came to investigate the fire and gunplay in and around the hidey hole.
Whatever you say, boss.
The cop is a big guy, and it's a hot day in the non-climate-controlled Mormoob Central, and Bud and Lou are not in the pink of health. The Joker worries, momentarily, that one of them might keel over dead from the exertion. For the millionth time it occurs to him, but he has chosen poorly in henchmen, at least in physical respects. Next time, he resolves, his next henchman will have the strength of Hercules, the morals of Caligula, and the obedience of robots. In fact, maybe robots would be the way to go whenever Bud and Lou accidentally incinerate themselves, helping to get the hidey hole ready for the big show. New henchmen will have to wait, though, since Bud and Lou successfully get the policemen arranged inside the entrance of what the Joker is calling Mormoops Maximus. They go back around to the outside of the building and use another entrance to come downstairs to Mormoob Central, where the Joker is standing before a bank of monitors, rubbing his hands in gleeful anticipation.
You sure you didn't kill him? Our time schedule doesn't permit delays until the resurrection of the pure.
Nah, we just gave him a knock on the head, boys. He'll be up and around in no time.
As if on cue, the cop rolls over and begins to stir. He sits up, automatically feels for his gun, and unholsters it. The Joker gives Bud and Lou a withering look.
You didn't say nothing about his gun.
Well, no. And of course it would never occur to you that I might not want this yahoo shooting up my best exhibits.
While Bud and Lou are working their way through the sarcasm, the cop gets to his feet.
Gotham City Police!
He shines his flashlight around what was once the main floor of the factory. What he sees unnerves him, as it should. He's young, probably new to the force, and not yet fully acquainted with either the corruption of his new colleagues or the fiendish cleverness of their adversaries. Today will be a good lesson for him.
This is W73 requesting assistance. Code 1199. 1199.
Unfortunately for the policeman, the Joker has had the foresight to jam wireless communications in the building.
Observe, boys. If I had not taken advanced countermeasures, we'd have the whole department crawling over our little bit of paradise right now.
You sure think of everything, boss.
The Joker toggles a switch that activates the speaker system in the nearly complete Mormoops Maximus.
Officer, it is with great delight that I, the Joker, welcome you to my latest innovation in entertainment. If you keep your head and enjoy the beneficent smile of Lady Fortune, you'll go home tonight to your TV dinner and the 11 o'clock news. If you start firing that gun everywhere and give in to your fears, I'm afraid that your potential outcomes are less salutary. Now, let us begin.
He switches off the speakers and starts the show. For a technical rehearsal, it isn't going badly. There are a number of glitches to work out, and the policeman, who for the most part behaves admirably, does lose his cool and ventilate an expensive feature here and there, a lapse for which the Joker is tempted to punish him. Now, however, is the time for him to take his own advice and play things cool. Bud and Lou bring the policeman down into Mormoob Central. He's a little the worse for wear. Well, that's an understatement, really. He was slightly the worse for wear when he went into Mormoops Maximus. Now he bears a resemblance to catatonic Kathy.
Officer? What's your name?
He can read the man's name on his uniform, but performance is all about establishing a rapport. The officer does not answer. The Joker steps closer and lifts up the cop's chin, so they're eye to eye.
Officer, do you recognize me?
The cop nods.
What's my name? Boys, get this representative of Gotham's finest a drink of water. Unless you'd like something stronger. Water, then.
When Bud and Lou return with a glass of water, the cop just looks at it.
Officer, if I had plans for you of a lethal nature, surely it's much more fun to do the deed in some of the spectacular ways possible back in the Mormoops Maximus. Like you, I ration my use of deadly force. Unlike you, I almost never can offer a rationale for my rationing. So what do you say? Are you going to worry about me poisoning a drink of water after all that? Whom would I be impressing? Those two? Hardly. Take a drink. What's your whistle, so we can talk?
The cop looks at the Joker over the rim of the glass.
Splendid! Now, do you recognize me?
You're the Joker.
Yes, yes I am. And you are?
Luke Harvey.
Delighted.
The Joker extends a hand. The cop shakes, and for a fleeting moment, the Joker is wishing he had worn a buzzer, but now isn't the time to be going for the quick gag. There's still work to be done on the big show.
Well, Officer Harvey, what did you think about the Mormoops Maximus?
A glaze comes over the cop's eyes again.
Oh, come now. It wasn't that bad, was it? Officer Harvey, we are going to have a very important guest in the Mormoops Maximus, and you are the only person I have who can tell me how to make it better. I would very much appreciate your feedback.
Trying to pull his hands away, the cop closes his eyes. His face screws up like a child's.
I've got kids.
Officer Harvey. Officer Harvey! Officer Harvey, I am fully aware that my word isn't worth much around here, but you're going to have to trust me. I'm not going to kill you because I need you to deliver a message. Can you deliver a message if you're dead?
Eyes still shut, Harvey shakes his head.
We agree. Excellent. Now, please answer my question. What would you like to see changed about the Mormoops Maximus? Your feedback is very important.
I don't know. I guess the one pit towards the end, there, it's pretty easy to get over once you have it timed.
Superb! Oh, thank you, Officer Harvey. A pleasure doing business with you.
Now, here's what you're going to do for me. And I know you're going to do it, because I know you wouldn't want to ruin the excellent rapport we're developing. Am I correct?
Yeah.
All right, then. Your errand is in 3 parts. 1, go and find Batman. 2, tell him what you've seen here. And 3, tell him that I anxiously await his visit. Can you do that?
I don't know where to find Batman.
Oh, but that's all right. It's my understanding that among police officers, Captain James Gordon is widely assumed to have, shall we say, access to the Caped Crusader. Do you know Captain James Gordon? Fine. Good. If you can't find Batman on your own, do it through Gordon. But do it quickly. This is a very important message, and I need it delivered absolutely as soon as you are able. Do we understand each other?
Yeah, we do.
And I hardly need to add, I suppose, that disclosure of this location to anyone but Batman himself, or I suppose Captain Gordon, if you make him aware that I desire no visitors other than the vigilante himself, but in a broad sense, disclosure of this location is not in your best interests, or those of your children.
I get it.
Tremendous. Here, if Captain Gordon is nervous about a conversation involving Batman, you may present him with this as a token of my regard.
From his jacket pocket, he removes an ace of spades from a monarch deck and flicks it expertly into Officer Harvey's shirt front. Harvey has quick reflexes. He catches the card before it can fall to the floor.
Boys, drop Officer Harvey off back at work.
Right, boss. Come on, buddy.
That bit of logistics taken care of, the Joker returns his attentions to the Enfer problem. The cheek of this firebug. He must be doused.
Must and shall be doused.
Bud and Lou were kind enough, well, momentarily sentient enough, to remember the address where they delivered the Veritech robots. Soon enough, the Joker will pay a little visit and offer young Enfer a lesson in villain etiquette. When that is done, he believes he might just borrow some of those superb robots on a more or less permanent basis. He has visions of a gleaming, spidery robot army popping up throughout Gotham City, each of them outfitted to deliver a special joke.
I'll have to step up my lab production. All in good time.
First, Mormoops Maximus must be readied for its opening and closing performance. Officer Harvey is probably correct that the pit in question is a little too easily surmounted, and if an ordinary yutz like him can do it, Batman will find it comically unchallenging. That's not the kind of comedy the Joker is after. No, sir. The truth of the situation is that the Joker is much better suited to supervision of projects, such as the contemplated pit expansion, so while he waits for the boys to return from their cop delivery errand, he goes into the lab and spends an hour or so among his beakers and test tubes. Shame to have lost the PBDEs, but if that was the trade for discovering where the upstart firebug is nesting, then he's gotten good value for them. It would have been a kick to have a little flame-retardant fun with the boy, though. Ah well. He cooks up a special, easily aerosolized batch of Joker juice.
We're back, boys!
When the boys come back, he puts them to work, tinkering on the Maximus. The Joker picks up his reading of this blaze cendrar that the firebug seems so enamored of, and finds in the one-time Frederic Saussay a kindred spirit, at least where whimsy is concerned.
Now this was a man who knew how to make something of his losses.
An idea comes to him, so obvious and brilliant,
Of course!
that he smacks himself in the head for not thinking of it before.
Frederic Saussay. Are you hiding in plain sight, little firebug?
It hardly matters, since he knows where the firebug's hideout is, but there are others who do not, and who might benefit from the knowledge. What fun it would be to provide them with it. Delighted, he strides forth from the hidey hole, and at the nearest payphone,
I'll take that.
he snaps the phone book off its cable and brings it back. There, plain as day in the voluminous residential listings, is a certain F. Saussay.
But wait! The address does not match the location where the boys delivered the Veritech robots. Better and better. Back in a flash, boys!
In a jiffy, he's at his favorite payphone once again, voice scrambler in his pocket, and a host of marvelous schemes jostling one another in his head.
Not you this time, Chiefy, but who? Who indeed? Ah. Perfect.
Gotham City's newest criminal menace, the murderous arsonist known only as Enfer, has delivered an ultimatum to city law enforcement personnel and also to Batman himself. If the Joker is not apprehended by nightfall tomorrow, Enfer says, he will, quote, announce myself in a way that will make the Arkham fire and my little joke seem like a trivial prologue, unquote. The apparent reference is to the word ha-ha, spelled out in fire across the midsection of Gotham City last week during the chaotic aftermath of the destruction of ARKHAM Asylum. Enfer offered no details in the message beyond a cryptic suggestion that his attack would strike, quote, at those who have previously betrayed me, unquote. The message, inscribed with paint thinner on the exterior of a fire extinguisher, was delivered by unknown means to the Globe's news desk sometime late last night.
August 5th, 4:22 a.m.
We've got to hit this place, Commissioner. It dovetails with everything we know about the guy. It's perfect.
Captain, what happened the last time we rolled out on an anonymous tip about Enfer? We lost 4 cops that day, and 2 others are permanently disabled.
With all due respect, Commissioner, I didn't like that tip, and I told people I didn't like it.
And what makes this one any different?
That one came out of the clear blue sky. And in retrospect, it's easy to see how someone with resources...
He almost adds, like Batman. But the words, keep the faith, rise up and stop him.
Could have seeded traces of common accelerants in the area to trip our sniffers. That was a plain setup, and we fell for it. And yeah, I went along, but I said at the time that there was something about the tip I didn't like. It's just a hunch.
And this time your hunch is different.
Yes, sir, it is. This time, we have the obvious correspondence between the name on the phone record and Enfer's well-known identification with the poet whose birth name that was. And look at the timing. The account was open 2 weeks before the string of arson started and closed 2 weeks after. Closed, in fact, on the day of the Arkham fire. This guy goes for the big symbolic gesture. That one screams, "Hey, I'm starting a new, bigger phase." It screams it.
And you don't think Batman could have set all of this up?
I don't think Batman set the first one up, is what Gordon wants to say. But he's not dumb enough to be quite that plain-spoken at this particular moment.
No, sir, I don't. The last tip was clearly thrown together at the last minute. The house's occupants had been dead for less than a day when we showed. The time frame of this one and the approach is completely different. If this was a setup, why go to all the trouble to set it up before anybody knew that Enfer was going to be a problem? The only way that makes sense is if Enfer was setting it up and deliberately arranged all of this so we would run across it at some point. But again, why? If what he wants is to start fires and kill firemen, he's doing fine at that. And he's already gotten some cop notches on his belt, too. This whole thing isn't his style, is what I'm getting at.
Style?
Yes, sir. I can call it modus operandi if you'd like that better, but what I mean was style.
Then whose style is it?
I don't think it's anyone's style. I think what it is a genuine tip. I think Enfer is at that location at least some of the time, and if we don't go get him, we're gonna be sorry about it later.
So who called it in?
Here's where Gordon has to tread carefully. He's got a theory, but the department brass tend to dislike his theories, and knowing this, he's gotten close-mouthed. This one, though.
I believe, sir, that what we might be dealing with here is a case of there being no honor among thieves.
Piscura looks at him.
By which I mean, I think another criminal called in the tip.
On what basis?
On the basis that it would be just like the Joker, for example, to see Enfer working in the city, having some success, drawing Batman's attention, and get... I guess the word is jealous.
Captain Gordon, if I understand you correctly, you're suggesting that the Joker has dropped the dime on Enfer because he's jealous that Batman's attention isn't fully directed at him. Do I mischaracterize your assertion?
Maybe more of a speculation than an assertion, but no, you're not mischaracterizing it.
Well then, if the Joker is behind this, how in the hell can you think anything about it is on the up and up?
Because in this case, the Joker gets the best laugh out of playing it straight.
Gordon, you might be right, but you might be wrong. I'm gonna have to run this one past some of the higher-ups. After Grand Street, the rules are a little different. I'm sure you know what I'm getting at. Hang tight.
Piscura stands, indicating that the conversation is over. Gordon walks to the door.
If it's any comfort to you, I'd be willing to go. But not all of us are as free and easy with our careers as you are.
2 hours later, he's still waiting for Piscura's go-ahead. He hasn't eaten, he's ignoring the phone. Spontaneous combustion is no longer a question of if, but when. He passes part of the time by calculating the potential fallout if he rolled out on his own, or with a small unit of uniforms he can trust. Probably, he concludes, he'd get fired, or at least busted back to patrol duty. The Gotham City Police Department can tolerate various forms of corruption and brutality, but it comes down hard on failure to follow the chain of command. Is it worth it if he nails Enfer? Gordon wonders. Would that make losing the job worthwhile? It might. If he lost this job, he could take Barbara and Jim Jr. out of Gotham City, maybe back to Pittsburgh, or maybe somewhere small, where Jr. could have all the things both his parents had when they were kids. A yard, a school where the playground wasn't all asphalt with lines painted on it, a sky with stars. Maybe it is worthwhile, if he nails Enfer. He's about to do it. His hand is reaching for the phone to find out where Vasquez and Tyler are.
Run in.
Captain Gordon? I'm Luke Harvey, and, you got a minute?
Nothing but right now.
This is gonna sound crazy, but I've got a message for Batman, and was told to bring it to you.
Kid, turn yourself around and get the hell out of my office.
I can't do that, sir. It was the Joker who gave me the message, and he didn't sound like he'd be happy if it wasn't delivered.
Gordon takes a second look at Officer Luke Harvey. There are discolorations visible on the dark blue of his uniform. Both of his hands are busted up like he's just come from a brawl. And now that he's been in Gordon's office for more than a few seconds, Gordon can tell that he smells like he's been at a fire.
Harvey, there are a lot of people in this department who could get me fired for even admitting that I knew how to get a message to Batman. Truth is, I don't know if I can or if I can't. But if I'm gonna take a chance on you, you gotta give me a reason.
Only reason I have is this.
Harvey lays an ace of spades on Gordon's desk. Gordon eyes it for a long moment.
You need to play the lottery, kid.
I don't know if I'm lucky yet or not, sir.
If you walked away from a conversation with the Joker, you're lucky. And from the looks of it, it wasn't just a conversation. Am I right?
And Harvey sits across the desk from Gordon and tells him about the Mormoops Maximus. August 5th, 5:22 a.m. 10 minutes earlier, Bruce had awakened with a single thought in his mind.
Your coffee, sir? Alfred, why does it always take me the longest time to figure out the most obvious things?
I confess to some difficulty in selecting an answer, Master Bruce.
We ran the search on Sandrar, came up with all the biographical correspondences, the Kropotkin link, all of it. And it never occurred to us to do this.
He points at the computer screen, on which Bruce has pulled up telephone listings for Gotham City. The name sits highlighted in the center of the display.
If so say. He's even listed his phone number.
Which almost makes you think it couldn't be him. But I tried to call and the number's disconnected. I tapped Gotham Bell's records and the number was apparently only active for a month, starting not too long before the fires began. Long enough for him to use the bill to get other utilities started, right? Then I wormed around in the postal records for a while, and there's an F-so-say with a post office box in the same area.
The data are indeed persuasive.
Bruce is already planning angles of approach to the house, and he's also thinking how strange it is to have the feeling that a solution has been broadcast into his head. It's not the first time that his subconscious has done this to him, or to use another psychological framework, the first time that Batman has told him something he couldn't quite figure out himself, but it catches him by surprise every time. Which is how it should be, he thinks. If that kind of revelation doesn't take you by surprise, it's because you don't spend most of your time thinking in a linear way. And if you're not doing that, there's probably something wrong with you.
I'm taking him out tonight.
Alfred lifts Bruce's coffee cup back onto the serving tray.
Then it seems we should adjourn to the cave.
Batman simmers close to the surface all day. When Alfred reminds Bruce of appointments he scheduled for lunch and immediately after, it's Batman who answers. No jokes about who's going to say what in the papers or which fat cat donor is likely to have his nose put out of joint. Just a flat, distracted, cancel it. First, Bruce puts the finishing touches on the car. He's got an intuition that he's going to need it tonight, and he wants it in top shape. He doesn't have time to install all the features he had on the other one, but by early afternoon he's got it customized for smoke, and he's stiffened the driver's harness for better impact absorption. This car is a little heavier than the other one, and he hasn't driven it nearly as much, so he isn't certain what kind of performance deficit he'll face in the event of a flat-out chase with the Joker. He is certain, however, that he's a better driver than the Joker, and that will have to cancel out any deficiencies in his equipment.
Alfred, I want you to lie low tonight.
I beg your pardon?
Alfred has been running a software diagnostic to make sure that all of the car's subroutines are communicating properly.
Take a night off. Get out of the house. Go see a movie. Visit friends in the country.
That would feel uncomfortably like dereliction of duty, Master Bruce.
Bruce puts down the last of the shuriken he's been sharpening and balancing. 24 will have to be enough.
Alfred, I don't know whether the Joker will come back here. I don't know whether he'll get involved in whatever happens when I go after Enfer tonight. There are too many things I don't know, and I don't want to add your safety to the list.
Touching, Master Bruce. All the same, I think the best course is for me to stay on here.
I'd hate to have to order you to do it.
Alfred looks him in the eye.
I would equally hate having to refuse such an order.
Bruce gets a utility belt and fills 3 of its compartments with shuriken, 8 each, a perfect double handful. He breaks open the rest of the utility belt's pockets and straps and sets about filling it with a full complement of gear. 6 gas-fired grapnels, a longer rope with grappling hook designed to be thrown, a dozen smoke grenades, another dozen flashbang grenades, and a pair of night vision goggles. In a pocket by themselves, he sticks 20 magnetic homing devices, and he fills the last pocket with 3 of the sensors that Lucius has sent from Applied Sciences. He also packs 3 ampules of an anti-venom he's put together that, according to lab simulations, should mitigate the effects of Joker juice.
If that doesn't do it, nothing will.
Then to the suit. He checks the under armor for tears or other defects, then looks at the cowl. Thinking about Enfer, he's added a pair of retractable polarizing lenses that should be ideal for seeing in conditions that would otherwise either blind him with smoke or set his eyes watering from heat. He doesn't like the idea of having anything between his eyes and the world, but he knows that this is a crutch. There are 4 other senses, and in any case, having lenses in the cowl is better than having his eyes boiled in their sockets by one of Enfer's surprises.
8 hours, Master Bruce. Time to eat, at least, if you won't take a break.
Bruce takes his lunch in front of the computer. He's been considering whether he should tell Gordon about the tip, and he's still not sure. If the police act on the tip immediately, another Grant Street could result, only this time there wouldn't be a disguised Joker there to spring a trap. In addition, a police action could easily tip Enfer off and make him harder to find later. On the other hand, what is his responsibility to Gotham City? Does he dare wait until nightfall, 5 hours away, and take the chance that Enfer won't kill before then?
Maybe it's true. Maybe we don't think like they do. Am I we or am I they?
Bruce hasn't devoted much thought to the question, but abruptly it comes to the front of his mind. He has taken the pure human form about as far as it can go, possibly far enough that he has more in common with the deformed or metahuman criminal class than he would like to admit. It isn't the first time he's thought this, but the media frenzy over the DNA results has hammered home to him the fact that no matter what he does, no matter how many lives he saves, or how many catastrophes he averts, or how many villains he puts behind bars, to much of Gotham City, he will always be one of them. The people will want to have him around as long as they find his actions useful, as long as they can rock their children to sleep with Batman stories, but they consider him a useful freak.
What the hell? I am a useful freak.
Beg pardon, sir?
Bruce looks over at Alfred, who has a chamois in his hand.
Alfred, are you washing the car?
That would seem to be evident, Master Bruce.
And Bruce is laughing not at Alfred, but in pure unexpected joy at the knowledge that he isn't as alone, as he's always so ready to assume. Nightfall is 5 hours away. Bruce sends Gordon a short message and gets back to work.
Vicky Vale, Gotham Gazette. In a highly unusual move, Gotham master criminal the Joker contacted this reporter shortly before today's Gazette went to press. He accused the Gotham City Police Department of failing to act on a tip related to the whereabouts of his villainous counterpart Enfer, and further alleged that city officials had been conspiring to protect Enfer since his appearance in the city. During the course of an extensive conversation, his part of which was conducted in rhyming couplets, none of which are printable in this newspaper, the Joker displayed considerable familiarity with the workings of Gotham City's official and unofficial hierarchies. In addition, he offered tantalizing insights into last week's disastrous Grant Street raid and related events, which claimed the lives of at least 9 people, including 4 police officers. Claiming direct knowledge of the events, the Joker said that the unsolved murders of a Sherman Street family less than a block from the Grant Street address were obviously a bungled first attempt to execute the setup. He further alleged that Gotham City police have known this for some time and have suppressed the information lest it swing the pendulum of public opinion back in the Batman's direction.